Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of Anitube Digest. No video. God damn it! I tried to get my phone fixed today, and the fucking guy wasn't there. Damn. We're going over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week, from the 15th of January to the 21st of January. Today, when I'm recording this. And first for the, well, tweet that I thought was not good. No! Bad JelloApocolypse. Fuck this guy, dude. I didn't have a video again that I didn't think was not good, but like this honestly pissed me off more than like several videos of the past couple of weeks, you know, that I just happened to, but you know, oh fuck. Okay, so I mean, I've probably screen capped it or something on the screen, but it's a tweet of JelloApocolypse talking about Kevin Ya's video on Fullmetal Alchemist 03's ending and why it's so great. It's not really about the video. It's about the thumbnail and him looking to click on it or like pointing to it in the first picture. And then the second picture, it has the tab that if you right click on a video or whatever, they like there's options, and one of them says to don't recommend channel, as if like, you know, hey, YouTube don't show me this video that I stumbled on. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch videos from this, not even just watch that video. I don't want to watch from this particular creator. And it's so nasty and despicable given what it's targeting, right? Like Kevin Ya, pretty OG YouTuber with, you know, not the biggest following, but he's been around a long time, and a lot of us know who he is and respect his content a hell of a lot. And that video in particular, I have talked about a couple months ago, was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. But never mind the video's quality, I think, or you know, or just Kevin in general, I would imagine, just any content creator or any bigger voice on the internet with the following that JelloApocolypse has, like 1.6 million subscribers, however big his following is on Twitter, to do that, to push that agenda and discourage people from checking out this video or this channel like that is so despicable to me. I don't like it one bit. Now, calling out a creator for doing toxic behavior, giving them their due, or just kind of making a commentary on like channels, you know, Twitter picking on YouTubers in general is not new, and it still happens. I mean, just a couple minutes ago, I saw Pedro tweet about Hirohei, I think. I'm subscribed to them. It's like I'm trying to subscribe to everybody, but like Hirohei in particular making this like really cringy video about like being angry that a fan game asks you for your pronouns. And like he's mad about that, I guess. I don't know. It's like there's call out culture like that, and then there's a video that is not trying to be provocative or toxic or even that hot. Well, I guess it is fair. I guess like yeah, the 03 FMA ending is a little contentious to some people, but it's not like a blisteringly hot take or anything. And the thing is, right, we all know it's coming from Kevin. Kevin's never going to make something like that that's like toxic or like overblown or something. And it just really pissed me off. And I'm angry for Kevin, as I told him. And I think a lot of people were too. Unique called Jello out for this. That was how I found it. Oceanus piled onto it. Shocking. Here, hiding in public, everyone on our server, to where like I didn't make this much of a big deal. I'm making my stink here, because this is just not a good tweet and not a good look. Yeah, I don't think any creator should do this in this capacity, and yeah, fuck Jello, in my opinion. That was not a good look, not good. And for the videos that I guess were decent, I definitely have more to say about them, but I didn't really say they were not good necessarily, but I do have a fair deal to say. First, quick talk about Scamboli's video on Gangsta, which I didn't want to put in not good because I like what he's doing. He actually found a kind of a hidden gem for once. That's not, but like Gangsta, he's right. It is slept on, mainly because when it came out that season, it was one of the more buzzed about seasonals that year, that season, and then it didn't end well, and a lot of people hated on it or dropped it or were very dissatisfied with it. He doesn't discredit those opinions, I don't think. He does admit that the ending is very chopped off, and I think he blames that sort of on the Manglobe closing, like the Manglobe bankruptcy a couple days later after this series ended, which I don't think is true. I don't think, considering it's an ongoing manga and everything. It was just kind of poor series composition in my opinion. And just general, I mean, I certainly didn't like this show when I watched it, but I certainly like the idea of him defending it and giving it a platform when, people weren't otherwise. And I like it, and I like positive takes from Scamboli. I will say he does the very typical, here's the thing, right? It's not that typical, actually, because a lot of YouTubers and people at this point, it's like 2020, and we realize complaining that all anime takes place in high school is a really dumb, misguided, shallow, ridiculous take to have about anime. I mean, yeah, a fair deal of it takes place in high school. There's no denying it. But like, just to merit a show like Gangsta for not taking place in high school is really dumb to me. And I was just thinking, like, as he was saying it, I was like, fucking anime snobs not using this defense, or like, all it takes place in high school, and it's like, you knew? What are you new? It's like, how far deep have you been looking? And like, who cares if it takes place? Why do you mention it? I didn't get why he mentioned it either, especially because like he talked about Beastars last week and Haikyuu a couple weeks before that, and it's like he's like pivoting on like most anime's bad but not this one kind of thing, and it's like, why? It's like, it was very strange. And it's like, I get you're trying to like give the show a compliment by being like, oh, it's depicting this really nefarious world of gangsters and drug dealers and mafia and stuff, and it's like, okay, cool, you can say that, but don't throw a bunch of these other shows under the bus just because they take place in high school. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's such an empty complaint. I don't know what else to call it. It feels like I don't know. There's some term for it, but it's dumb. But I wanted to bring it up just because this is the kind of stuff I want to see from him. Motorcycle. Actually giving a show that doesn't get talked about much credit. And I want to give that proper credit too. So like, championing what I believe in, and good shit. For once. All right, we're going to talk about a Nux Taku video. Legit this time. Because, this is another one that I felt could have been a not good for a lot of the problems I have with it. Scenes that can only exist in anime, or as I definitely remember this title originally being, only in anime, which is a very cliched phrase to me, at least community-wise, because a lot of people like to credit or even maybe discredit anime for how unexpected and unconventional and different it is, and almost exotic, and that how a lot of things that anime is known for can really only happen in this medium, and why we're here for it. And Nux is coming from a place of sincerity and love for the medium, while also being like, yeah, a lot of dumb stuff happens. I think, and that's a feeling all of us can relate to, old, new, young, old, fans of the whole spectrum. We can all agree that anime can get very weird. And that's cool. But like, there's a lot of things with this video that I think could be better. And he says that there's, he wants this to be sort of a series. So maybe adjust some things. But hey, this might be some general problems with Nux's content overall. So I don't know how much is going to actually be like fixable. Or adjustable, I guess, is probably the better word. But let's talk about it. So first of all, it was very bloated with words before, while even taking into account that the amount of content he's talking about is minuscule in comparison. So he's talking about scenes in anime, and he talks about 4 or 5. He talked about, so here's, okay, there's a lot of things about this. So he mainly talked about shows from the winter 2020 season, except for Assassination Classroom, which we'll get to Assassination Classroom, how he handled that in a little bit. He takes like 5 minutes to get to the first show, when this concept he has here is pretty easy to understand, and it's like, this is the kind of thing where you want to get into the video, and I don't know why he's trying to make the video so overly long, or maybe that's not intentional, and I'm curious of whether this is actually scripted or not. If this is actually scripted, I'm pretty surprised, because it feels like he goes on a lot of tangents and a lot of over-explaining on something, and starting to wean in his opinion on the show and what he thinks of it. It felt a lot more like featuring this show in a way that, you know, you wouldn't get otherwise from reading the title or the description or a cover or a PV. He's talking about specific scenes that happen, and kind of celebrating and or cringing over various scenes, and he's showing variety, and there is certainly a variety here. It didn't feel like a redundant video, but it did feel a bit redundant in the way he went about each one, exhaustively detailing the show or explaining what the premise is and like what's going on. And there's a lot of detail in it that I think can be cut from what you're trying to talk about. Like, he takes forever to get to what scene he's talking about in Darwin's Game. And the payoff to that is not that satisfying in comparison to what was leading up to it, in my opinion. Like, it took so long to get to the scene, and then he takes like 3 minutes to explain the one scene. The whole thing, he's very passionate and likes what he's talking about, and it feels like he's a genuine fan, and that's really important. And I think that's why he's generally gained the fan base he has. He wouldn't have gained this audience like this if he hadn't, in my opinion. The energy he brings is sincere talent. So I wasn't bored watching it, but it was very bloated, and it felt very rambly, which is why I was like wondering whether this was scripted or not. If it's not scripted, that's probably why it was so rambly. And then it's like, okay, I think the amount of energy and like focus you're giving in on this sort of thing, it doesn't feel kind of chill or like a podcast like this series, right? This series is overly long. I'm rambling right now. Very fair, and this is unscripted. But I make it as sort of a thing that, like, I think it's chill, and it's not like a video to hyper focus, pay attention to, I guess. It's kind of more like a podcast, I guess. I don't know. And maybe that's his reasoning, but his energy is so on top, and like he's really trying to make an experience and a point. And that's great for a video creator. I just think that it kind of runs diametrically when he's rambling about the show's premise, and like repeating himself a couple of times, reestablishing the point, I guess, and kind of supporting it even more and more and more with the same kind of repeated, but she's a donkey. And I don't know, it felt very bloated to me. He mostly only talked about the winter 2020 season, and I have to say it felt a little opportunistic in that way. The minute I heard that, I'm like, okay, he's really only talking about these because they're somewhat relevant. Like, he doesn't feel like he can talk about shows from 2 seasons ago. Maybe because he's already talked about them or something. Or, you know, and from that, all of these scenes that he's talking about that can only exist in anime seem to be from episode 1, right? And it's like, yeah, I could just watch this episode. I could just watch episode 1. I don't know. Like, I think it would have been more interesting if you cited a scene that you really thought was interesting out of like a whole series, right? In like episode 6 or 8 or something, like really going in deep. I did not watch a lot of your Flex series, but I would imagine that the Flex series was greatly supported in that, because there's so many you're mostly taking from shonen, long running hundreds of episodes. And so a lot of people haven't seen those, or they're new fans or whatever. And like, they're not going to know this fight from episode 66 or whatever, like, or a big, they may have forgotten about it. They might be Naruto fans, but they may have forgotten this one little episode or one scene or whatever, and you remember it. So like in that so it made sense in that. But then this, it didn't feel like you're really finding these gems, you know? It kind of felt like, I guess surface level is the word for it. Like, you had this idea, because you have to keep you're on the grind, man, and I really respect the hustle. But in this grind of like, gotta come up with the next video, you're like, oh, only in anime. This felt, you know, kind of like a jolt of a thought. And so you're like, okay, I need examples from that. And you just kind of pull from what you just watched, you know, from like episode 1 of this show, this seasonal that just started up, or whatever. And I don't know, that felt very transparent to me, and it didn't feel like curation. Like, I'm picking this scene, I remember this scene from this one show I watched a couple of years ago, or like, you know, certain things you really like. And because what my whole point of this is, and what I think you're trying to accomplish with this show, with this series of videos that only exist in anime, is a celebration and ultimately to recommend these shows in some way. Maybe you're not, you know, there's some like, I don't know if I necessarily recommend Darwin's Game or something, but like, it felt to me like a curation sort of thing, where it's like, you're showing people these scenes that are really funny or really interesting or really cool, that are the things that can only happen in anime, and inevitably, hopefully, get people to watch the show. You clearly want people to watch Assassination Classroom, and I looked up your name in Assassination Classroom, and saw how many videos were attached to that, and it's like, yeah, you've talked about Ass Class before. So it's like, I don't know how many times you've done this specific spiel about the ending of Ass Class, or like what's so great about Assassination Classroom. I think there's little nuggets here of like, of a really cool series, because it's like, you could really be making a great point of like why we love anime so much, because yeah, it's very surprising, it's very unexpected, it's colorful, it's not just colorful in like actual colors, but like colorful as in like expressive, and has variety to it, and it's not the same fucking shit. Even if all of us kind of complain that sometimes the same isekai, whatever, right? Like, since, you know, a lot of people are there, but it's like, no, by and large, you're gonna get stuff that you would never have expected, or you would never have thought could exist. And like, that's something we love about it, and I agree. And that's great. And I don't know, I just really support what you're doing in this series. I just think it could be a lot sharper. Like certain scenes and episodes that you really can talk about just the scene, not the episode, not the premise of the whole fucking show. You know, like, I feel like you've dragged yourself down so much with the whole idea of like what the premise is, all the build up and context and setup, and it's just too much. I don't give that much of a shit, actually. I really want to hear the titles you're talking about and the scenes you're talking about, you know, and make it, you know, snappy. But maybe that's just not your style, I imagine, because you like the big meaty fucking like 20-minute video. That's what your subscribers expect, I imagine. So hey, fair, but I can tell you really, really give a shit about your content, and well, you know, at least your audience. You know, maybe not the videos themselves, like how it looks, because you're not editing them, but like, you care about the audience and like getting your point across. You know, you're not like cashing this in or whatever. So I mean, I think you could do better. I think there was some very small clunky things where it's like, you mentioned Assassination Classroom at the beginning of the video, and then you're like, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to do that. And then you end the video with Assassination Classroom, and like, you spend like the last third of the video talking about Assassination Classroom, and it's like, just make an Ass Class video already, dude. Like, I don't get it. And it's like, you used to do that because you had to do the standalone characters, whatever, but then you've kind of changed your gears a little bit, or you found stuff that worked better. I don't know how successful this particular video is for you, or how much you care about your metrics or whatever. I do commend the effort, and the passion is there for sure. But it's like, yeah, I just think, like, even you even changed the title to kind of make it a little more SEO friendly or something. I don't know why you changed the title. Maybe you got demonetized. I don't know. You know, there's certain things about it that it makes it like, oh man, it's a little transparently content creator. You know what I mean? And not as much like express your, I don't know. It doesn't feel as genuine to me because it feels like you're kind of more bending to the algorithm, trying to make yourself more successful. And maybe that's rude. I'm sorry. Don't sweat it, dude. I think you're doing pretty good. I mean, you are. No shit. You're doing way better than any of us. Holy shit. But this is really interesting. I berated his video long and, a little too long to really talk about it. It's funny, Nux. You're not the only one who made an only an anime video this week. Funimation, the actual Funimation channel, put out this video called Only an Anime, right? Like, what? With Chris Lamb. I gotta tell you guys, I don't really like the only an anime thing because it makes me feel like, well, only an anime, feels a little condescending to me. But this is also a pretty decent video. And it does a lot of the things that I was hoping Nux would do. Although I liked Nux's approach of analyzing specific scenes. And then I do think he had a little more like sincerity and heart and enthusiasm, I guess, to his video. But Funimation, like, they do a pretty good job here. They start off with Fooly Cooly. Notice it is, I think, almost a third of the length of Nux's video, and they cover way more titles. Like, Nux only covers 5. I think it's Ass Class, Darwin's Game, Izuzoku Reviewers, the one with the all animal school, I guess, and like maybe one other one, right? Like 4 or 5. They go over like 9 or 10 in this Funimation one, like 9, I think. And it's also from a whole spectrum. I don't think it was anything from this season. There's a couple from last season, like Africa Salaryman. Oh my gosh, shilling kind of an unpopular title there, Cautious Hero from last season. But like Fooly Cooly, they started with Fooly fucking Cooly. I mean, still super popular, but like older. A couple of obscure things, like, I guess not too obscure, like Pop Team Epic. I don't know. There was a better variety of stuff from different seasons and different levels of popularity, I guess. They were mostly focused on, like, it's crazy that there's this anime about this guy with a gun for a head, and it's super niche and, like, weird, and, it's sort of the similar direction that Nux is taking it, except, and they're more, like, describing the stuff that happens in it, a little more summary-based, for sure, but they're quick about it. They're very sharp. They're making very specific observations and saying it once, So I think the writing's a lot sharper and more variety, and I liked it a lot more. Still not a fan of it did feel a little more like an advertisement. I think there could be a greater point to it, of like, what about the fact that this only happens in anime makes it so good, and it's like, yeah, it didn't take it to that next step for me, and make a greater point about it. And it's not that funny. It feels a little more like it feels like a Get in the Robot sort of thing. But I'm happy Funimation's dipping their toes again into this sort of content. I think they've done it a couple of times and they do different little things, but there's nothing consistent like Nintendo Minute, which is unfortunate because they did have that at one point and then those people left. So, hopefully it can bring it back a little more. But I like that they're personality driven and that sort of thing. I think it's something they should pursue. So, I mean, it's still a decent video. But I just think I think Nux should take a look at that video. Just to kind of get an idea of what I was thinking of, like, of what I think would be better with this. Because, I mean, again, I feel like he cares about the series. He wants to do more with it. And so it's like, see about this. What do you think? Feeling about, I mean, at least the structure, not like, not the content itself, I guess. Like, I'm not asking you to do a face reveal. Okay. Beyond Ghibli. I don't have too much to say about this one, but I figured it's Beyond Ghibli video. I gotta bring that up. The view from the summit, how Haikyuu makes you care. And he ends the video with that, where it's like, it makes you care. Because his whole he does not believe at this point, which I appreciate, because it's not a good point. Look, Joe made makes great fucking content, I think. Where it's very polished, and like his narration's so good. One of the best in my opinion, and so tasteful, and I liked his choice of shows and everything with it. He talks about how he is not a big fan of sports anime, but this one's different, right? It did have that kind of vibe, which is exactly what Scamboli said, you know. And that I still don't think that's a good point. I don't like that, like, you know, you just found a good one. Like Haikyuu's values and the points that it has, it's not like you could point to other sports anime and be like, this doesn't have that, because they do. Like a lot of them do. And I was sort of thinking about like you know, the difference between individual sport anime like Ippo or Prince of Tennis or something like that, where it's like an individual, right? Versus a team sport. And that, to be fair, there really isn't that many team sports in comparison to individual sports. So I mean, maybe that's something, you know, whatever. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, what have you tried? What have you tried of sports anime? How do you know you don't like it? Because clearly you do. Clearly it's one of your favorites. Ashino Joe is my favorite anime. It's a sports anime. And it's like, I don't necessarily like it because it's a sports anime. I like it because it has really good characters and really good art and animation and sound and amazing themes about like what you're talking about. The beginning of your video is great. It's excellent. It's exactly the feeling of like sportsmanship and camaraderie and teamwork and the idea of rivals and everything. Like the vibe that you're channeling. Yes, that's it. And it's like, you get it. So why do you, it says, again, you didn't make it this big of a point, but it's like, I don't get why you're making that point of like, though this one makes you care. This one's different. I don't like sports anime too much, but this one though, it's like, come on, man. And to be honest, you know, the more I see of Haikyuu, I'm sorry fans, people who like it, Haikyuu fans, the more I look at this, the more I'm hearing clips of the show, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna like it. It's just one of those things. I get that vibe from it that I'm like, And I'm also gonna be a little more skeptical because I did play volleyball in high school. I have a very vivid memory of volleyball in high school. Loved it. Loved playing volleyball in high school. I'm not sure about this one, Chief. But that's neither here nor there. That's nothing to do with the quality of this video. I just wanted to make that point where it's just like, this is bothering me. It makes you care. It's like, it's doing his job. It just felt, man, it felt like a little baity title, if you ask me. If you ask me, Joe, I think any Joe Schmo, I think anybody could do that. You're much better than that, I think. I don't know. That just seems like a newbie. Like a newbie Anituber. You know the people in this sphere, like the newer guys. That feels like a title that they'd use. Like some of these new guys just starting out. You're at 100K subs, Joe. Come on. Oh, maybe I'm just being a dick. I'm sorry. But you know, still. It's just the merits of being a Beyond Ghibli video gets it this high anyway, but it's still one of those things that was like, There's certain things about it. Also, like, I don't know too much about Haikyuu, but I do know there's a lot of rivals and like opposing team members and stuff, and more seasons. And it's like, I don't know if you covered just the first season. I feel like this just did cover the first season. You didn't really talk about future seasons. You sort of mentioned, yeah, there's a whole season that is just takes place in one game, and then I liked the detail you gave about the very single episode you love. That's like one of your favorite episodes. Period. I really fuck with that. Having like a favorite episode of anything kind of deal, and it did sound really interesting. You know, although I feel like I'd get way too pissed, actually. I don't know. That seems like, just again, because I was that. I think I was that opposing team. actually. So I feel like I would get caught. I feel like it wouldn't be my thing, but but I was happy you made that mention. But like, what was I getting to that? You kind of it just felt like a little. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you were trying to be non-spoilery. That's fair. But I hear way more buzz about the opponents in Haikyuu on like Twitter and like the spheres that I'm in than I think this video gave it credit. I don't know. That was just my outside of someone who hasn't seen this show yet. I could be dead wrong. I could be fucking so stupid and wrong. Okay. And now, what I think were the best videos of the week. Some shit that I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah to that. Absolutely. First, a quick shout out to ceicocat. She's back. Oh my gosh. It's not an Anitube video. It's not an anime video, so I don't want to dwell on it. Is the cast of Always Sunny irredeemable? I really liked that. She still got it. And I was happy, it felt like it was really matters that she cared about. It didn't feel like she's just making a It's Always Sunny video because It's Always Sunny is good for SEO, right? Or like, those people, like the kind of like the Nerdwriter clones, I guess. But ceicocat's not a Nerdwriter clone. Absolutely not. You could tell she really wanted to talk about this particular, and the show really affected her. So I loved that, and it was a great video. Just not an anime YouTube video. But she's back! Oh my gosh! BobSamurai! What did I tell you guys? This guy, I like this guy a lot. It's just he made a stinker last year. The Seeking Fulfillment and My Addiction to Consuming Entertainment. I fucked with this so hard, dude. Fucking yeah, man. He's talking in his car and generally about his life and his lifestyle and how he's constantly consuming things and the agitation he feels where it's like, he starts the video as like, do you have an addictive personality? And he's describing it as like, once you put something down, once you pick something up, you can't put it down until it's done. Or like, you're very easily attached to things. And I am an addictive personality, and I'm just like him, where I'm very purposely avoiding drugs and alcohol and even coffee. I'm not avoiding soda. He's avoiding soda. I'm okay with soda. I'm not hooked on it, but I'm the same way. I'm the same way, where it's like I just get sunk to I don't like talking about it, obviously, because it's weird, sensitive, and like kind of gross. But I chew my fingers a lot. I don't know if you see in my videos, but like my fingertips are all red and swollen. It's because I chew them. I've chewed them for years and years and years. Sorry if it's too gross. But like that's an addiction I have, and so yeah, I do have an addicting personality, and so and he's talking about that dynamic and him struggling with this idea of like, oh, I need to stop playing video games forever because I can't stop playing them, or like that's all he does. There's days he talks about where he wakes up, plays this game, and eats 3 meals in front of this game the whole time, and then falls asleep at whatever. And that was his whole day. He just played that video game. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this. And he's talking about how he, living on his own, he has an autonomy to himself, and he dictates when he wakes up, when he goes to bed, and what he does with his day. And having that autonomy means having a responsibility for yourself and taking care of yourself, which I totally agree with, and I really fuck with as well. I'm really trying to learn that myself, because the first time I talked about in the video I just put out, first time that I've not been in school or have like a consistent whatever, so I really have to dictate, especially as like I'm a contractor, so it's like I really have to make the determination, like, I'm going to work today, and I will keep working this amount of time, or I'll stop here, and whatever, and time management. So it's a very introspective, one take sort of deal in his car, and talking about this sort of idea, and I really like it. Really good video. I enjoyed it a lot. Dead Leaf from UrbanTheMyth. God damn, dude.
he only takes the first opening act, like the opening scene, before the fucking title screen. Like that whole car chase at the beginning of the film. Like, he doesn't use the whole film. He just used the opening scene. And I'm like, the fucking restraint to that. Well, the fact that it can, like, the whole thing can last in that long. The music choice. I love Itoboki Beaver. Is that how you pronounce it? I love that band, and I was just shocked that you had the idea to include their music video in it, which I have seen. It's like, it was a perfect song choice. Out of all this, any of the songs could have worked. I feel like you could have done the whole album to this fucking anime, to fucking Dead Leaves, dude. Oh my gosh. But it paced perfect, and like, oh shit. And so many incredible fucking edits, like split screen and like, not stuff that's like too overly flashy and like manipulative. I feel like I'm on the spectrum with, I can only do two ends of AMV making. Either I am clean, no fancy anything, just clip selection, or I am picking it apart. I am like stretching and like ultra keying and lighting effect, like, oh, like splatter. I don't know how you do it, dude. And like, you mentioned this to me, but like, you make edits that you would not be able to tell if it was from the anime or not, because Dead Leaves uses a lot of split screens and like narrowing of aspect ratios and stuff like that. And there's some parts where I could tell, but most of it I could not. Most of it I was like, oh, it's just timed perfectly, and I don't know if it was from the show or not. Like, fuck. And never mind that Dead Leaves is such a great fucking anime, and Itoboki Beaver is such a great fucking everything. I'm gonna DM you something later, but fuck, dude, I'm just gonna say this. I'm so sorry. I am a dick, and I need to ask something real quick, but I'll DM you. Okay, Digibro put out more content. Yeah, I'm like halfway through him sorting through E-Kon's collection, and I'm incredibly jealous. But I wanted to talk about Twitter's Most Wanted Talk, Notoriety, and VTubers, which is a discussion with Digi, E-Kon, and NineOuh, which is a great combo. And it's like, it was weird that they haven't actually recorded anything like this very concentratedly, I guess. I remember one convo that was like filmed, that was like very casual, that was like Digi, E-Kon, and I feel like Jimmy was there. It was like during the Boston arc. Digibro arcs. It was like during that time, and you were like recording outside or like in your kitchen or something. I remember I remember that video, and I was like, I feel like you did that, or it may not have been Jimmy. I don't remember. But yeah, they've said that this is the first time the three of them have really concentrated, sat down, and talked about something. And they mostly talk about virtual YouTubers, the Kizuna Ai and whatever, and how genuinely impressive they are. And it was just kind of more of a casual talk. And to be honest, I was kind of checked out a lot of the time during those parts, which is often the majority. But there's a lot of nice rumination and introspection about how they met, general anime fandom, some like fan subculture, and like what goes in the mind space of a fan subber, where they think they're superior and they're really doing a service, and they're like, without us this would never blah blah blah, and the kind of the mindset behind that, that I thought was really interesting. There's a lot of very small nitpick, like nuances, little bits here and there. I wasn't going to mention another Digibro thing. I don't like doing creators 2 weeks in a row unless it's really warranted. And I don't know if I guess this may not be really, really warranted, but like, I really wanted to say that, I'm really appreciating the discussions he's having. The amount of discussion that Digibro is opening up here. Like, I do want to just talk briefly with like he is doing something way different than I don't know any other YouTuber. Just YouTuber. Like it's one thing to keep YouTube live streaming and making these like, you know, whatever, right? And constantly doing that, like 7-hour fucking like, and then posting, you know, like throwing that up, right? It's one thing to do that, and another to very decidedly post a piece of content, which is like a podcast or a long form, whatever, that you're very specifically talking about a subject or like centering it around something. And Digi's doing that in way I don't see other people doing it, and in this consistently, this frequently, just the amount of he really is a content machine, and I you know, on another level from like Nux Taku, right? But like Nux is kind of doing the more conventional, and like Nux can talk about the popular stuff and like be able to twist it in a way that like it's mainstream popularity, or like, you know, to get you to the million subscribers. But like Digi is kind of he has the knowledge and the drive, but then doesn't have the interest. That like he physically can't bring himself to shill for like the winter seasonals and like the all the shonen and all the most popular shit, right? Like he just doesn't want to. You know, she's that, you know, I do respect that a lot, as someone kind of, you know, now that I've proven myself to be able to do that for the most part. But like, you know, it's kind of the mantra I'm going by, where it's like, I'm going to do whatever I fucking want. Like, that's the thing with Digi, right? You love him or hate him, like, he's doing what he fucking wants. And he's not trying to do this out of like a structure, you know, sometimes he does, where it's like, a day, you know, he's doing a video every day or something, you know, and it can be messy doing it like this, where like he's starting all these things and not continuing any of them. It's like I've never seen anything like it, and I would never be able to do that. My conscience would eat me alive, dude. It was like, I need to make another episode of that. But like, nah. So like, I really respect it, and this is just more emblematic. It's just, I don't know, just wanted to talk more about Digi in general, and this particular vid stuff. I really enjoyed it, as usual. Kato. Let's talk about Kato video. I will say that they're in the kind of realm with like Alexander and some of these other YouTubers that like they're more kind of essay driven and more like kind of writing, and they're just kind of putting it in video form. To me, and a little more dry in the presentation, but I really liked this video about Kuwabara, kind of analyzing his position and taking the various scenes that he's in and like explaining why they matter to the show as a whole, and you know what's so great with him, and it really made me appreciate the character even more. I am going to be rewatching it soon. It's been years since I've watched Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm looking forward to it. But like, yeah, I really enjoyed this video with them. One of my favorite characters, and being able to revisit scenes, and again, very clean presentation, and not something I necessarily had problems with in the same way that like with Alexander. I feel not like I didn't have like problems with Alex or anything, but like yeah. So I mean, best of luck with them with doing more stuff, and good thumbnail, and yeah, good shit. And let's end this off with, well, it has to be the best video of the week, because you know, the best anime YouTuber uploaded a video. Technically, fucking Demo D put out a shit post on Azukin's OP, and what? Is this OP really that powerful to bring a man back from the dead? Yeah, I know Demo is on Twitch still and doing his thing, and he really likes what he was totally comfortable. God, we don't deserve him, really. Frankly, I think he would eat all of us for fucking breakfast, dude. not just simply for like his wit or his kind of like, you know, untouched popularity, in spite of looking at his content now is kind of dated or like kind of out of style. Like it's very 2013 of that period in its humor, in its, I just think we've gotten better. I just think all of us as a whole have taken what he's done and elevated it or brought it to, stretched it in different ways and improved upon it. And I'm sorry, like, you know, but it's like, and, you know, if he comes back in an actual capacity, it has yet to be seen how effective that would really be. If he's still got it, right? Or how much he's learned in the set, because he's still a human, right? Like he's not coming out of a car time chamber from 2013 and be like, hey, what did I miss? Like he's been watching the shows, he's been seeing the feeds, he's been tweeting, he's been twitching, right? And you know, he's probably gotten better as a writer, more funnier or something, you know. The dude's sharp. Here's the thing, right? What a lot of people I don't think ever appreciate about Demolition D. He is actually really fucking smart, I think. Or at least insightful to what's happening in the industry or just to anime in general. He's not that cynical about like, oh, they're planning to take place in high school, right? He doesn't seem that cynical. You know, I'm not watching all of his streams. I could be fucking dead talking out of my ass, right? I kind of am. Look, okay, I'll admit it. Yeah. But at least in the brief conversations I've had with him a year ago, he just came off to me as so sharp and not a goon. You know, like a man of culture, I guess. Not ironically, not like waifus, but like actually like gets it and is watching the shit and is like, you know, chill, I guess. I mean, if the man was fucking recommending Angel's Egg in 2012 or 2013, wherever that period was, if he was recommending it back then, yeah, I would figure he knows his shit. A fair deal. Anyway, I just want to give that the best video of the week just because it's a miracle that he just decided to make this shit post about Azaken. Okay. Yeah, and it was just kind of a moment in Anitube, I guess, and I wanted to make sure I talked about it. So those are my picks for Anitube Digest of this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope my mic didn't die. I hope you enjoyed that video I dropped the other day, and I hope you look forward to what we got in store for you very soon, hopefully. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Yo, peace.